Tonight on James Talk Africa, my guest is Mike Harty, a leader with Shekinah Trust Foundation, a ministry focused on helping those challenged by substance abuse to find deliverance. He shares with us today the incredible new online platform they have created to help people far and wide tackle the issue of substance abuse. Tonight on James Talk Africa. Before we do that, please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody.
From Cape Town to Cairo and from Mogadishu to Dakar, this is James Talk Africa. Now here's your host, Chim Onyibilanma.
Hi there and welcome to this week's episode of your show. I'm Chim Onyibilanma, your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, like I said in the intro, my guest today will be taking us through what it means to find recovery from substance abuse and sharing about the online platform they've created to help people far and wide benefit from this ministry that's been on for decades. But before we go into that, I just want to share something from my heart with you. I've just come back from the Indian Ocean island of the Comoros. And if you watch this program for a while, you know I've talked about the Comoros a few times, but it continues to be something I'm challenged about, because here is an island out on the Indian Ocean on top of Madagascar, not too far from Tanzania, but with a population that is almost 99% Muslims, and many have never heard about the Lord Jesus Christ. Two things really touched my heart during this trip. Number one is the fact that God is at work. I tell you, I've been involved in the work in the Comoros Island for almost 13 years or more now. And the things I saw during this trip I've never seen before. The fact that there's so many people who are hungry for the Lord. The testimony of people who, against all odds, in spite of the persecution that faces any Muslim that turns to Christ, are giving their lives to Christ. People who are saying, if I perish, I perish. I can't tell you how much my heart was challenged by this testimony and encouraged too. Because I see that in the hardest grounds, you think around the world, there's some nations that seem so difficult to see the gospel penetrate. But right now, I tell you, it's harvest time. God is drawing people in their heart like never before. Some people thought that the lockdown and COVID was a means by which it would pull back missionary work and evangelism work, but I tell you it's not true. God has been working in the heart of people, and God is drawing people to himself. So the first thing that challenged me and encouraged me was how God is working. The second thing I come back is the challenge that we still need more laborers. I wish I can take you around to see the faces, and I hope we can be pasting some of the faces of these precious souls. Some of them have not heard about Jesus for the very first time. Nobody has sat down and told them about Jesus. And there are some of you watching me that God is calling to go. God is challenging you to give up your small ambition, pack your load, and go and preach the gospel to those who have never heard. Will you respond to this challenge? Will you give up your small ambition? Will you consider the fact that God might be calling you to go among the unreached people and preach the gospel? If you sense something happening in your heart, if you sense that, look, Chim, this is something that has been maybe sitting in my heart for a while, or even as you talk now, it's something that is bubbling in my heart, I would like you to use the contact on your screen and contact us today. Let us know that God has put something in your heart to go preach the gospel where he has never been preached about. And use that contact. Let us have your details. We'll come back to you with information that will help you to start the journey of becoming a missionary. We want to see you respond to God's call. We want to see you go to where he has called you to. Some of you are busy at a job. It's not that you have no job. Just like me, I was an engineer, and God called me to leave my job. That was about 30 years ago, to leave my job and go work among Muslims. And today I look back with joy that I responded to that call in obedience. You can do the same today. Use the contact on your screen, contact us, and we'd like to help you respond to God's call. Now let's go to that interview I had with Mike Harty. I hope it challenges you also, and you're blessed by this intervention to help those facing substance abuse. Don't go away. Hi there, and welcome to this segment of your show. Like I said in the intro, we're talking today about the Shekinah Trust Foundation, a ministry that is focused on providing recovery for substance abuse persons. With me is Mike Harty, who is the administrator for the online version of that ministry, as well as a trustee with Shekinah Trust Foundation. Mike, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pastor Chim. It's a real honor and privilege to actually be able to share with you today.
I love the story you have to tell. I mean, we've been friends for a while now, and I know you were part of the very foundation of this ministry that gets into the mud with people who are addicted and help them walk out of that and recover. Tell me, what is Shekinah Foundation Trust? First of all, tell us what Shekinah Foundation Trust is.
Well, Shekinah Foundation Trust started way back with a person by the name of Rowley Snell in 1976. This man had an uncle who was an alcoholic who eventually ended up living in a back room on his property, and he started counseling with this relative of his. And he found that there were other people that were needing such counsel, and soon he had a weekly meeting in his own home where he was actually counseling people with alcohol problems. But the local church and some businessmen felt that it was very unhealthy for this type of situation in his own home, so they actually rented an office in central Pietermaritzburg, which is the capital of KwaZulu-Natal, where there was an office there where people could come and be counseled in this office. And of course, it wasn't called alcohol rehabilitation or alcohol counseling. It was just Rowley Snell, the office number. So there was strict confidentiality about the situation. And Rowley, after a while, realized the need for a live-in center. But
what falls under substance abuse?
Christian-orientated rehabilitation center, where people needed more than just counsel. They needed to actually get away from the normal routines of life and be actually ministered to in a center. And so a center in New Hanover, which was halfway between Pietermaritzburg and Greytown, some 35 kilometers out of Pietermaritzburg, a property there was bought, an old German farmstead. And there, a Shekinah Care Center was created as a live-in, short-term rehabilitation center. So that's how it started. Alcohol, you can see it. They get drunk. They are not aware of their actions. They don't have any control over much of their movements and their actions and that. But you also get the situation where a person can be a chronic alcoholic, where it's a psychological addiction and never ever be drunk. And I'd like to give you an example of that, if I may. We had through our center once a surgeon who specialized in a specific area of surgery. And he came to us because we were in a rural situation and we were virtually unknown. He didn't want to go to a center, in a main center, because he would be known there and his whole reputation could be ruined. And he came to us, and his story was, before he went in and performed an operation, in his office he would take one shot of brandy just to calm his nerves, he said. Then he went and performed the operation. He said, I had been doing this for a number of years. He said, but when in a routine operation some complications arose, he said he had to excuse himself and go back to his office and take another shot of brandy and come back and conclude the operation. And I said to him, well, what? He says, fortunately, the operation was a success. He says, but then I realized I had an alcohol problem. Here was a man who lived a very wealthy, affluent lifestyle, had never been drunk in his life, supported his family well, supported local community work and that, yet he was a person who was totally dependent upon alcohol. And he came to us for recovery. He went through our whole course. He said, please don't treat me any differently to anybody else here. And we didn't. We treated him just like everybody else there. And he said, please introduce me as a medical rep to the others. He says, because I don't want my reputation to go before me. And we didn't use his surname.
So he recovered?
He recovered. He left us, and he said he never touched another drop of alcohol ever again.
Tell me something, Mike. How do I know if I have a problem? What are the indices?
You see, the problem here is that, especially with alcohol is socially accepted. You find people will gather around at a gathering and will consume alcohol in some form or other. I put a challenge to an individual once who said his family was very, very concerned, and I'd like to use this as an example to individuals of actually identifying a problem. This family came to me and said, our father and husband has got a chronic alcohol problem. So I challenged him about it. And he says, look, I'll come home and I have a few drinks every night and that. He says, but I don't get drunk and that, I just have a few drinks. I said, yes, but it's disturbing to the family. And he said, well, it's not a problem, it's not an issue. So I said to him, okay, I'll lay down a challenge for you. If you can go 3 weeks without a drink, and you have no problem about it, whatever, I'll agree with you, you've got no alcohol problem. But then again, if you cannot manage that time, and you need to take a drink, then you must admit, I've got a problem and seek professional help. Well, Jim, a week later, he signed himself in for treatment at our place. And I think that is how a person can identify they have a dependency upon alcohol or any other substances. How long can I go without it? And you find your drug addict, and especially your illegal drug addict, because of course drug addiction is not just the illegal drugs like cocaine and heroin and marijuana, but it's over-the-counter medications, some cough syrups, prescription medications. Yes. How long can I go without it? Because your drug addict most of his waking hours is, when can I get my next fix? When can I get my next fix? This is all they're thinking about. If you feel that you have a problem or an issue with this, test yourself or test a family member, say, go without it for a period of time. And if they can go without it, then there's no problem. But if they can't go without it, there's dependency.
What I see here is that this is a problem that's affecting the high and the low. You've talked about the surgeon. It affects the poor man, it affects the rich man, it affects everybody of every race. Now, how much does this affect families? You mentioned in passing this man where his family is complaining. What have you found? How big is this problem from your experience? How huge is it?
We have found that alcohol tends to be the one issue that breaks down more marriages and more relationships than any other substance. And we find that Scripture gives grave warnings about it, about the use of alcohol and the abuse of alcohol. And as you said, Pastor Chim, drug dependency and alcoholism affects all stratas of society. It just depends on the amount of wealth or the lack of wealth that a person has as to what they are actually using. The person who has very little income will be caught up with stuff like wunga, which is a mixture of dacha, marijuana, together with some of the residue of cocaine and crack cocaine mixed together. And then you find that, and we're finding it in business now, more and more businessmen are actually addicted to cocaine and crack cocaine. And yet these are people that are in business, in the workplace, in the family situation, but it causes a strain in relationships.
Now, you moved this whole thing online. You have what you call now Road to Recovery, an online alcohol and drug rehabilitation package.
Yes.
It's online. First of all, tell us why this move. Then I want you to describe what this is all about, because I think it's exciting.
Yes.
Because for me, it's exciting that now this thing that has helped a lot of people through your history is available out there to people from Bangladesh to I'm looking for something that sounds like B. From Bangladesh to the Bermuda, Bahamas.
Yeah.
Now, tell us, how does this work? Walk us through the online thing. How does it work?
Okay, well, what happened there is when we closed the center itself, we then decided that we went through a process then of actually giving away our facilities to another Christian organization that is now running an orphanage in our premises, and they are in the process now of, over the time period, of taking over that property totally. That took a couple of years to sort out, and we had other programs in place. But then was a situation of, we had a trustees meeting and we sought the Lord, where to from here? What should we do from here? And it came about that I was flying back from Cape Town from a trip where I was involved with a company whose headquarters were in Cape Town, and I was just about to go on retirement. And I was flying back from Cape Town, and normally when I fly, I'm a tall person. When I fly, I like to sit in the aisle seat. But I didn't book my ticket, the company bought my ticket. I was one of those that were late on the flight to get there, and I found that I was in the middle of 3 seats, the most awkward one for a tall person. Anyway, I sat there, and my wife had given me a magazine, a Christian magazine to read on the plane. And so I opened this and I was reading it, and I noticed there was a chap next to me. He had his computer that he was busy doing a program on. And all of a sudden he tapped me on the shoulder, and in a very Afrikaans accent, he asked me, could I help him with a question here? He's doing a course online, and he couldn't understand the question with English not being his home language. And I saw it was a course on depression. So I just quit. I said, oh, do you find? He says, yes. He says, unfortunately, he says, my younger brother drowned a couple years ago. He says, my mother died of cancer recently, and he says, and my sister and my father were killed on a motorbike. My father was driving the bike with his daughter, my sister on the back, and they were killed. And he says, I've lost 4 family members in a short period of time, and I'm doing this course now on depression. And I said, oh, and I was quite interested about it and questioned him about it, and I was able to answer his question. He was happy. And I sat back there, and all the way back, I kept rereading this one paragraph, and I closed it, and I said, Lord, if a person can do a course on depression online, why can't we help a person with substance abuse online? So when I got back home, I looked at this lot, and I found you can do courses on relationships, all types of relationships, work relationships, marital relationships, family relationships, depression. You can do a stop smoking course online. There's so many courses that you can do online, but I couldn't find anything online counseling for substance abuse. It always referred a person to a center or to a group that met, but there was nothing available online. So I brought this to the trustees. The trustees, we prayed about the situation, and we ran with that idea.
It's now available online, the whole full course. It's in 6 modules, 5 modules?
It's 4 modules.
4 modules, and it's available for someone to go through module by module, or possible for one to go through everything.
Yes.
So that means I find that I have a need for this, or I need to know more about this. I can register online,
yes.
I can go through these courses, and I can actually see results in my life. Tell us some of the feedback you've gotten.
What we are thrilled about this, Jim, is that, and I must just admit, it rolled off the tongue so easily. I said, let's just film our teaching and put it online. I mean, that just rolls off the tongue. Simple sentence. But we found that adapting our program, which is a good program. And we know it's a good program because it's biblically based.
It has helped a lot of people over.
Yes, and we have seen the results and the fruit of it, where many people have actually been able to give up a lifestyle of dependency through our program. I will say this, and we're unapologetic about it, is that our program is very evangelical. Why does a person drink? Why do they drug? Because there's some root cause behind it. And ultimately, it's a breakdown in relationship between man and his maker, God. And if we can restore that relationship or bring a person into a new relationship with his maker, God, through the blood of Jesus Christ and the gift of salvation that Christ won for us on Calvary, the person has more has got more gumph, you might say, has got more motivation because he has been led and empowered by the Spirit of God now, and he has something he can turn to instead of turning to the bottle or drugs for recovery. And so we found that being biblically based and quoting a lot of scripture brings people into a newness of life. And so we decided we'll film our lectures and put them online. So everything that we taught at the center, our Live-In Center, is now available online.
So what the people get online is a full dose of what you used to give physically, and it does the same thing in people's life. Now, Mike, this is where we start to wrap this up. First of all, I want to say that on the screen as we speak is the address online for this particular program. I know there's some fees to be paid to go through this program, very minimal fee. Go to the website on the screen right now, and you get all the information you need about this wonderful recovery program. If you're a substance-dependent person, you might want to go to this place, or maybe you know somebody who is. Yes. I think the information and the awareness you'll get from this course could help you be able to help the person, or maybe you can lead the person there. Mike, you told me before we came online that you had a special gift for those who are watching this program. Go ahead and announce it.
This is what we're doing. There is a fee that needs to be paid. And what we're doing, if a person wants to register, or if you know an individual that a family member or a friend that you would like to sponsor, if you send through an email to info@roadtorecovery.org.za, which is on the website, stating that you have come to learn about this program through Chim's Talk Africa, we will give a 50% discount to anybody who registers through this chat that we're having.
Generous of you, Mike. And Mike, what would be your last word as we round up?
What I'd like to do, Pastor Chim, is just encourage every viewer here, don't battle on by yourself with this problem. Seek professional help. Come to our website. We are prepared to help you as far as we can. And what I'm saying is, if you're prepared to help yourself in this situation and trust the Lord will help you as well. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Mike Harty. He's a trustee with Shekinah Foundation Trust. They are committed to helping people with substance dependence to come to a place of freedom. Please use the website on our screen to go check out their online center. Now they've taken everything they have, they put into a course online. Use the link on the screen to check them out. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll be back to wrap up. Hey there, welcome back. I'm sure you were challenged just as I was by that conversation with Mike. Like he said, there is a special for those who are watching this and want to get onto that program. Please don't forget you can use the information that is on the screen to get to that program, and it's going to be a blessing for you. This is where we'll wrap up this week. Before we go, I just want to encourage you to join us next week. We have a special guest, and Eniola is a lady who battled with losing her husband at a very early age to a disease for which she has become a crusader today to make sure people know about that and know how to be free from, how to detect in early stages, cancer, and to be able to manage it and not face the same kind of ignorance that killed her husband. You want to hear Eniola's very dramatic story next week. And as we wrap up this week, I just want you to know that this program is made possible by those people like you who believe in what we're trying to do to catalyze Christians all across Africa to be salt and light in their community, and is made possible through their generous donation. You might also want to give towards what we're doing here. If you want to do that, use the contact on your screen to contact us today, and we'll tell you how you can send in your one-time or regular donation. And to say thank you to you, I want to send you a copy of my book, God Gives His Children a Song. Now, this is a book that has blessed people all across the world, and I'm sure it's going to be a blessing to you. All you have to do is let us know today that you want to support this ministry. We'd like to say thank you to you by sending you that book. And this is where we'll say bye-bye this week. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back, same station, same time, next week. It's bye for now.
Please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody else.